Hi Adam.
Hey.
Hi. So thank you so much for having me here today. We're here to talk about your new co-working space called Koworks. I'm interested in the lead up. Can you just tell me a little bit about beforehand and what led you to this moment in time?
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much for having me, and it's gorgeous day.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coworks essentially started as a concept where I'm a surf lifesaving volunteer. I was on the beach talking with my business partner Chris, and we were talking about how the community is, well, first of all, surf lifesaving clubs are traditionally underfunded, they're underutilized. Wouldn't it be great if we could help raise funds for surf lifesaving clubs? Mm-hmm. And then from there, I came up with the idea where I had traditionally moved out of Sydney. I'd moved into the Central Coast and specifically Copacabana, and I was working remotely, and I thought to myself, well, I was working in co-working spaces down in Sydney. Surely we could turn the surf club, which has all the facilities, all the location, premium location here on the beach, mm-hmm. and it's underutilized. Surely we can turn that into a co-working space. Mm-hmm. From there, we put a post out on a Facebook group. The next few weeks, we had over 150 people in the Facebook group, and it really spurred on from that. And then we worked out that we could not only turn this surf club into a vibrant co-working space, but really fit it out with amazing furniture and amenities that people are inspired to work at by the beach. So that's really where it came from.
I was looking a little into the history of co-working, and the first one was in 1995. A bunch of people in Berlin.
Yeah.
And it's called Seabase. And I was like, oh wow, I didn't realize it'd been around for such a substantial time. But the difference between then and now, to my understanding, they weren't responding to a huge social problem like a virus. Would you say that COVID has influenced your drive in any way?
It's a great question. I think we started the Coworks experience because we were all working in our homes because of the lockdowns, working remotely, and we were all doing the same thing. And I think we as humans crave that social interaction and human connection. So I think, if anything, Coworks was always going to exist pre-COVID, but the drive to push it forward that much more, and I think the demand has been amplified because of COVID. People are coming out of their homes, don't want to go back to the old normal of going back into the office, or commuting, or having to work the old way. Businesses are embracing the hybrid work lifestyle, as well as employees and business operators and sole traders. They're all embracing the hybrid approach, work from home a couple of days, work in the office a couple of days as well. So that's essentially been amplified, I think, a little bit because of COVID.
Because you were talking about how essentially office spaces or corporate areas for Qantas or Woolworths or things is just not going to happen again, right? That they will utilise spaces like this because it benefits them, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking to business owners every day that are saying we're not going back to the office full time, or we're embracing a hybrid approach where we'll cater for 20 to 30% of our total employee base, and the rest of the time it's hybrid. So allowing staff to work remotely from home or working in co-working spaces like Coworks.
Wow. So this leads me to my next question. Why would people leave? What if you've got a hermit, right? And he's just gotten real used to the last 2 years. He's got his coffee at home, he's got his laptop there. What is something that would coax him down here?
So other than the view, other than the fact that we have a premium location by the beach, which naturally I think we all know, the impacts that nature has on the mind. I think that's a really amazing benefit for people coming down to Koworks and being able to sit and look at the ocean and be by the ocean. The other part of that as well is Koworks isn't designed for 5 days a week. We're only open 4 days a week for a reason, because we want it to be something that people intertwine with their work lifestyle. It's something that they can come down to 2 days a week or for a couple of hours and get out of their home. That hermit that might, or that coder that might be trying to solve a problem, stepping into a new environment and solving that problem. There are so many examples that I could give around people taking themselves out of a particular environment and placing themselves in a new environment and either solving a problem or coming up with an idea, or the list goes on. So,
and the energy is contagious.
Correct. And then there's the other part of that, right? Where you've got like minds that are sharing ideas and the feeling when you're working away and just that person next to you is also working. It just gives you that little bit more of a drive. I think that energy is really what is going to drive people to be inspired to be down there.
I was thinking quite deeply into the difference between a normal office space and a co-working space. And in a traditional office space, there could be an underlying sense of competition because you're all working for the same head, right? So there's like, oh, I want their role, blah, blah, blah. Co-working is literally like a decentralized, like everyone's the top of their little empire and you can choose to hop across and share ideas if you want to, but it's this really like self-autonomous platform.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
It is. And I think that's why we're seeing co-working spaces popping up, not just during COVID, but all over the world.
Yeah.
Whether it's WeWork, which has been famed, all the way through to What's Our Workspaces here in Australia, to Work Collective in Umina Beach. They're popping up all over the place because people don't. The way that we work has changed. COVID has amplified that, definitely. And the net benefit when you are in a co-working space is so much more positive than being in a day-to-day office by sheer collaborations. The business opportunities that I might present to you and vice versa. The solving of problems, the fresh perspectives from different angles, the leveraging of talent. There's a lot of businesses that are starting up that might say we need a graphic designer, or we need an accountant, or we need a web developer, and they all exist in that one space. So I think the co-working, I guess, environment is definitely here to stay, and I think it's going to become the normal. Yeah,
and it's radical responsibility because no one's going to check up on you. You're there to you push your own dreams, whereas some people at home more tendency to procrastinate. Like I was speaking to someone down here yesterday and they're like, I got so much more done because I saw the other person tapping away on their computer and they were just buzzing and I had to do that.
Exactly.
So it's just this sense of productivity in the air that
exactly. and that's what's driving the energy, right? It's a community that drives that energy of productivity but also inspiration. So working, I know for me when I was working at home, which I've got a beautiful office set up, but even then, you get up, you might do the dishes, I've got to clean that washing, I've got to mow the lawn, then you start thinking about all these tasks before you know it, the day's done, you haven't...
I'm in my pajamas, I'll stay in them.
Exactly. So I think it's a small shift, but it's also a shift for people to work in an environment where they're inspired and they feel the ability to be productive as well.
What I love about the co-work space is that it's not dry in any way. Do you want to explain the co-works culture in that sense?
Yeah, I guess we're by the beach, so we wanted the space to be as inspiring for people as possible, but also something that people walk into that it's not in your face. So all of our furniture is actually modular. and it all interlocks and clicks in together. It's all sustainable wood, but also the other part of the furniture that we designed it this way was the whole space packs down.
Yeah.
And it's designed to be a place that can be chopped and changed. Surf clubs also have functions and events and those sorts of things. So we needed to design the experience that it could pack up and pack down easily, but when people are in the space, it felt permanent. And that's why you see all the greenery, the decor, and I guess the way that we've structured our desks in providing a little bit of privacy, but also open so that you can communicate and network.
For sure.
Within the community.
And you got
as well.
surfboard racks.
Surfboard racks, stand-up desks,
Yeah.
phone booths to make phone calls that you can still look out at the ocean while you're in the phone booth. It's all been very purposely thought of in terms of how that experience is driven out for people to have a great time here. So.
Is there any downsides to co-working spaces? Because you would have thought of that.
Yeah, great question. So the downside from a co-working perspective could be the noise, right? Some people might not like the energy. They might also not necessarily feel like they want to share all their ideas as well, right? So a lot of people, the first question is, but what if I'm sitting next to a guy that's running a competition business and he steals my idea? Well, that's the whole great thing about Coworks or co-working, is that it's actually designed to collaborate.
Yeah.
It's not about someone stealing your idea or it being too noisy. But I think those are potential downsides. Like any concept has a downside. But so far it's all been very positive.
Oh, nice. Let's circle back to you just being an entrepreneur. Do you think that people are born being entrepreneurs? Because you've had various businesses, and so I just want to know, when did this way of being start for you, being an entrepreneur, or is it something that you cultivated?
For me, I've always run my own businesses and found it very difficult to work for other people. Not out of disruption, but purely out of challenging the status quo. Why can't it be that way? Why couldn't it be done this way? It frustrates me. So for me, when I was 19, I started a couple of businesses, was fortunate enough to very quickly, in a small level, exit those businesses and start bigger, more technology-based businesses. So yeah, for me, it's always been something that I've been, I guess, drawn to in creating ideas and then bringing those ideas to life and then being able to execute on them. I think the other part of it as well is then finding great people that you share those ideas with. Chris is a great example of it with Coworks. Like, the two of us have literally from day one seen it exactly the same way, and my business partner in Sportility is exactly the same way. We've seen Sportility the exact same way. So I think it's always been in my DNA, and that's something that I'll always do.
Do you think people do have an entrepreneurial bone in their body though that you're born with?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
So you can't fake
Not even
it.
a question.
You can't fake it. It's like a brain that is looking and connecting dots, and
it's a different, I try and surround myself with a lot of other entrepreneurs in other businesses, and we all kind of come back to this saying we're all the same. We're all challenging the same things. If it's that old joke of you put a group of entrepreneurs in a room or at a restaurant. Why can't I have this on the menu? Why is it done this way? Why is the price this way?
I can so relate to that.
And that is exactly, I guess the description of that entrepreneurial brain, right?
Would you say it's a creative process?
Yeah,
something
absolutely.
different. Yeah.
Absolutely. There's a method to the madness, but there's also a science to the art in the entrepreneurial world, right? So some more scientific, some more creative and artistic.
Wonderful. Okay, finally, we're getting to the end quickly here. Can you tell us about the future of Coworks and how you plan to expand?
Yeah, so the future of Coworks is really simple. We want to turn underutilized spaces into vibrant and profitable communities for those existing communities, but also the broader community at large. So Koworks, as a baseline, we want to create a network of co-working spaces all over the country, and ultimately, if we can, all over the world, where you can plug into a co-working space that you have the same inspiring experience, whether you're in Copacabana Beach in New South Wales or Copacabana Beach in Rio de Janeiro.
Wonderful. And tell us a little, 50% of the profits go to the surf club.
Exactly.
That's
so
epic.
that's a huge part of what we do. So with the model, we didn't want this to be something that you just spend money and you get the service in return. We wanted to then go one step further and have the impact on the communities that we're trying to empower. So Surf Club, Surf Lifesaving Australia is the largest volunteer organisation in the world. I don't know if you knew that.
Wow.
They've got 358 or 52, I think at last count, surf clubs all over Australia. They basically keep our beaches safe.
Wow.
Yet funding is done at a nationalised level, not at a localised level, and then the clubs, similar to sport, are forced to find local sponsors and those sorts of things to fund their volunteer-based organisation.
Wow.
So with Koworks, what we want to be able to do is provide the profits for every desk that someone rents. Not only do they know that they're getting a great experience and a great space to work from, they know that for every dollar they spend, 50 cents is going to go to support that local sport, that local surf club.
Oh, epic vision. Love it. So people just download the app, book a desk.
Yeah, so we've got a mobile app, both Android and iOS, where you can download the app, book a desk, find your space that you want to sit at. Right now we're in Copacabana. Hopefully we'll be in many more soon. But from there, also go to coworks.com.au. You can find out more.
Thanks so much for your time.
No dramas. Thanks so much for having me.
No worries.